Welcome to another edition of Walking This Way's Impact Force podcast. I'm your host, Furman Jackson Jr. I'm the CEO and founder of Walking This Way's Impact Force podcast. We are once again broadcasting right here in the DFW. That's Dallas Fort Worth, Texas. For those who want to know what DFW is, this is also Saturday. This is the last day of April. We're going to enter into the month of May. So we're going into the fifth month, everybody. So I hope everybody just really been on their A game. I hope everybody really just, as they say, breaking the algorithm to really not go along with part of the crowd, but you standing on your own, you're making your own rules, you're making your own laws, and you're being about your business and standing out from everybody else. So I'm very excited to be back with you once again. Also, my lovely co-host Ursula. Ursula, what's going on with you? How you doing this morning?
Good morning. I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great this morning. We're back here on the airway this morning, and we're very excited. Like I said, we're all live streaming right now on all three major different platforms. So if you're tuning in, whether you're on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, we'd love to hear from you. Put in the comment section as well. We got a very special guest with us this morning. She's a Texas native. She's running for City Council for Grand Prairie in Grand Prairie, Texas. Of course, for those who want to know, very beautiful, intelligent, integrity, character, charisma. Uh, what is it? Well, kind of stuff I come up with. But I'm just really stating a lot of things. But I'm gonna give everybody a little secret. You know where I really get the word productive from? And I'm gonna say I got productive from Jeca. That's why I got that word from because we had a meeting when I first met her, and that's when she was running for office for another office at that time. And I said something about busy, and she corrected me on that. She said, "You never say busy, you say productive." That's where the word came from. So you know where I get productive from? She's the reason for productive, and we just want to welcome her once again this morning. She's taking time out of her productive schedule. Of course, Chica, welcome to Walking This Way's Impact Force podcast. You're not a stranger to the platform. This is actually your second time on here. So we thank you once again for hanging out with us this morning.
Good morning. Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. It's always a pleasure, but most of all, it's really an honor to be invited in to talk with you. I'm really excited about today.
And most definitely, I know you're running for office. You run this time. You're running for a different office as well. I was surprised that you got back into it again. I know you went through the other one, and I asked you about it. It's like you waiting on God's will, God's timing, and eventually coming forward on this one this time. And I know Ursula, she got some questions for you as well. So when I gave her your background, she was very excited to talk to you and ask questions, and we're very excited. So, for those getting to know you for the very first time, who is Jeca Williams?
Oh my goodness. The first word that always comes to mind is servant. I really am here to serve everybody. That's what I do. I really work hard to be moved by my inner space and respond to the needs of people that come into my space, and really try my best to do everything that I can to inspire, improve, enhance, and grow someone's life, help them reach whatever their goal is. So first of all, I would say servant. You read a little bit about me. I'm a mother of four. They're all adults. Yay for that. And I have two wonderful son-in-laws, and I have four grandchildren with one on the way. So that's such a blessing to see that generation come forth out of what I helped to create. So I'm really thankful for that. And essentially, I'm a mediator. And I do everything that I can to help prevent and resolve conflict if possible, and just educate and teach people in our communities. That's pretty much who I am.
And you do have a quite impressive resume as well from your work, education, putting in the grind, and staying focused, dedicated. You do have a beautiful family as well. I met them when you had your party. Was it earlier this year? Something like that. Just put it like that.
October. Yeah.
Yeah. It's time flies. It really does. And because I've been living here it'll be 3 years on December the 14th. I've been living here. So time is flying by. Wow. Urs, do you have any questions you want to ask, I guess?
Well, first, I want to start off by saying I am very impressed with your resume. Okay, when he sent me all the information, I was like, "Girl, when do you sleep?"
Thank you. Thank you so
And
much.
you definitely don't look like a grandma. So let me say that. But no, I was looking over everything, and I saw you got started with the dispute as far as what is it for unions?
Yes.
So
So
what was that like?
that was over 20 years ago. I worked with a major telecommunications company, and I became involved in supporting my coworkers and colleagues with different conflicts that they were having. And then I got involved with the union. So it was really nice in that I was able to advocate for our rights, our work, rights as workers, but also anticipate needs and concerns that would come up to prevent the conflict before it came. It was really exciting. I was part of the strike back then. I was the obnoxious one, riding around, blowing my horn downtown obnoxiously, just to bring attention to our needs and our what we needed as workers and all the things that we have been doing for the company. So that was where it all got started. I realized that I had a special knack for helping talk through different perspectives and ideas to prevent and resolve conflict. So that's how it started. Yeah, CWA.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And now you're running for city council. So what are your hopes and goals and aspirations as far as making the changes in Grand Prairie once you get in that position? Because we're already speaking it into existence.
Well, thank you. Well, with Grand Prairie, my area of concern is District 1. That's the area that I'm running to represent, which is the north part of the city, approximately around 30, in between 360 on the other, slightly on the other side of 360, as well as over to 161. Um, I really am concerned because times have changed a lot in the last 10, 20 years. The makeup of people that live in that area has changed a lot. It is much more diverse over the last 10, 20 years. And I'm concerned that we've lost we have lost our voice to speak up for the needs of District 1. So I genuinely want to represent our concerns. Our infrastructure is fading. I'm really proud. Let me start by saying I'm so proud of what our city council has done already. The growth and entertainment that you see on 161, Chicken and Pickle, the restaurants, the hotels. You're able to come in and enjoy those things with a family focus. I really appreciate that there's a family atmosphere and a family focus to bring about togetherness through families in the community. The changes that are being made for road structures and such, the business that will come out of 30, Texas Trust is booming. Really great things are happening, and our city is really building revenue with many of the decisions that are being made. They're not wasted investments. So I'm really excited about that. But my concern is that District 1 is being left out. With the growth that's happening, roads, street repairs, sidewalks, just so that someone can walk their dog. And I was out block walking, and I noticed that there was a woman out with her dog, and she only could go so far. She couldn't really go down the street. She walked to the edge of her yard and back because there was no sidewalk in the neighborhood. So little things that help enhance our day-to-day living, having access to stores, retail that needs to be considered in District 1. Our money is going toward all the amazing things that are happening around the city. I'd really like to see some of that get put back into where we live so that we can have that efficient, viable life every day, not just to go enjoy chicken and pickle on the weekend.
Right, right. And I wanted to ask you also, I'm actually a HUD certified housing counselor. And I'm a huge advocate on housing affordability, sustainability. Of course, since COVID, there's a lot of homelessness, and a lot of, I'm about neighborhood stabilization and things like that. And a lot of things are happening when it comes to the housing market. Like I say, people it's outside of their affordability. So, what are your views on that?
Well, my biggest concern for District 1 is really, yes, definitely affordability. And in addition to that, we have a lot of manufacturing companies. A lot of trucking businesses are in our district specifically, a lot of industrial. And what I'm finding is that many of the drivers and workers at those facilities, they can't afford to live in the neighborhood that they work. So as a result of that, they may not be as concerned about the infrastructure and how they drive on the roads. They are not as concerned about missing the curb. They'll drive over the curb, the grass, the pole, the sidewalk, and everything else as they're making their turns and maneuvering around the city. But when you are able to increase affordability for people that live in the communities that they work and vice versa, they really develop a care, a unity, a sense of unity. Family investment happens out of that. So affordability is very important, especially for our area, because through that, I believe we're able to build concern and longevity in the community.
Right.
Man, that's some very important stuff, and I know this is something you're passionate about, Jeca. This is something that you really purpose driven about. So, growing up as a woman, growing up as a young woman, intelligent woman, if that's something you always wanted to get into, was politics and all. If that's something you always had in plan, was that a vision for it? How did that all come about?
Is this a trick question, Furman?
It's not a trick question, but we're having a good time here on Saturday morning, liven things up, and it's exciting to talk with someone who's in office as
Yes,
well.
it's
So
exciting.
I just want to know because a lot of times people are like, no, I didn't know really plan. It's just something I just walked into. So
Let me be very candid and transparent. No, no.
okay,
Um, Ironically, I didn't grow up in a time where voting was discussed in my family. Voting was never really talked about. There wasn't much talk about racial injustice or issues. We grew up as a Christian family that was Southern Baptist, so it was all focused on loving, treating everyone the same, not being concerned about skin color, and I'm all of those things in me. That is a makeup of who I am. However, it's important for us to recognize that there are differences in our culture and in our community, which would warrant us to engage and interact with others differently based on our respect and recognition of their culture and how they were raised. So, as I've continued to grow up, I've been able to start to understand the additional dynamic on which I can build from a Christian perspective. So, I really appreciate that. But my only interest growing up was helping people. I grew up in a neighborhood that was mostly elders. All of my cousins got a chance to move to the city, and I was in Corsicana. So I all of my friends were people that were well into their 70s and 80s. I was really the only little girl on my block, and uh, the young men, they were already older. They were middle school age, I believe. So I grew up with a interest and a desire just to serve and help, and, and started out ushering in the church just because I wanted to stand next to my great grandmother. So blessed to have had her till I was 25, right? So those things were influences as to what it meant to have community, to serve, to help with whatever you have inside of you. You have something to give, even if it's just a word of encouragement, a smile, a prayer. So the essence of everything about me just came out of helping people, and it evolved into this space that I'm really thankful and excited about.
and you know what it is, Jake, it's very exciting, and I applaud you for what you're doing. And I'm not saying it could be on the podcast, but from knowing you on the back end as we develop friendship on the outside, but just really your work, your dedication, the love for your family, the love for your grandchildren, and we see that all the time, and we need to see more of that family unity. Because a lot of times you look on TV, social media, we see a lot of family's divided, but you're a woman about family. You're a woman about structure. And I know as you break upon this journey of being city council, would there be more emphasis on family values and coming together and to really showcase that in your office of what you're running for?
Thank you. That's a good question, and thanks for that. Family is a really big deal
It
to me.
is.
Uh, with my children, we get together on probably once a month or so. They're raising their children, and they have the business of their day. But I talk to at least one of my children every day. So, and when I say my children, I'm talking about my son-in-laws as well, because they call me too, and we'll spend hours talking. But it's important in District 1 that we facilitate an environment to build families, right? To grow families. And it starts with making sure that the neighborhoods have what they need so they can be long-standing, growing families and neighborhoods. Unfortunately, my children live about an hour away, but at every opportunity, we do try to get together because family is where the bond is where you learn, you grow. I think oftentimes we forget that we have a responsibility as a family. We want to get together for the fun domino times, right? We want to get together for the cards and the parties. But there are times that you can actually influence your generation through conversations with family that have value and meaning and purpose, where even though they're adults, you can still, as an elder or a mother in the family, you can still influence their change and their decision. You can share wisdom. Times where we actually sit and I will move to say, hey, we need a family meeting. I still have family meetings where we started out when they were children. We'd have a family meeting about different things that was going on in the family, and we do that where I'll tell them I've been given a word or something that I need to tell them, and they'll all get together on Zoom and we'll have that discussion about future generations and what we would like to see for our family. So family is a really big deal for me. It's important that we provide opportunities for family, which is why I speak of chicken and pickle. And in our communities where we can have those block parties and neighborhood gatherings, because family is not just your own children, right? It's really more about a bond. And my son said it best years ago when he talked about family and how out of that you make him be your friend. But then even beyond that, people that are your friends become your family. And it's really because of those relationships and the unity that you
Yeah, that is. And I know I'm glad you brought that up. We brought that up. Y'all know I've listened to the great Dr. Miles Monroe, for those who don't know who that is.
have.
Dr. Miles Monroe was a famous preacher.
Yes,
And he was talking to he was dealing towards men. And he was talking about the birds of marriage and stuff. And I like what he said. He said when a guy asks a woman to marry him, he said her response should be, where are we going? When he said that, I need to know which division. I need to see it on paper. I didn't know if I'm going to commit to you, I need to see where we are going. And that's very important because people think that just like, okay, we just get together and say, no, what's the purpose behind it? What's the meaning? And I remember just thinking about what you're saying with your family. It's like, okay, the purpose of our family, the meaning of our family. Now you have son-in-law, which call your sons. And it's like, okay, where are you leading my daughter? Where you're taking my children to, grandchildren to? Because it's about legacy. And a lot of times, we don't think about that. We never had that mindset of legacy, mindset of building a kingdom, empire, heirs to the throne. We think that's for kings and all the other stuff, but no, that's for us as well, also, and just having that mindset. And I'm gonna ask you this: when you decided to get back into office again, how did your family receive that? After I know you went to the other one, and I know that one. How did they receive it when you decided to, you know what, I'm gonna take another shot? I respect you for that because you didn't throw it away, but you put the gloves back on and say, you know what, I'm gonna finish this fight. So how did they receive it when you decided to run for office again?
thank you. Well, the first race was a 2-year race, right?
Yeah.
It was an amazing campaign, one that I really think the community was proud of. And I'm so thankful for everyone that was involved, all of your work and your help with that. It was an amazing, amazing time. So, because I really am here to serve, I just continue forward with that, and it transitioned into the city council race because that's a place where I'm coming from, genuinely from the heart. I really sincerely care for people. So, well, they all have very different personalities. You probably could imagine. I don't understand how that happened. They're raised in the same home with the same rules, but they're all so very different. One of my daughters was really concerned. She said, Mom, are you sure? You worked so hard. You gave up everything for the community. Are you sure you don't need a break? And then the others were like, hey, go for it. And they're very supportive, very kind. They reach out, check in. Are you eating? Are you resting? So they're very supportive because they really understand that for me, serving, even through candidacy and through the elected offices, God willing, it's really a ministry, right? It's really a calling because it's an opportunity to share things to enhance people and grow people from a spiritual space, whatever their spirituality looks like to them, right? Without imposing. And so for me, it's really birthed out of the requirement. I've moved to a space where I'm being moved by obedience to what I believe in. And when you do that, it is a requirement. It's a necessity. If you want to have peace, and if you want to sleep at night, you really start to walk in the purpose that you have in your life in order to maximize your legacy, be an example of servitude, but also help bring about change. So they're on board. They're excited. They want me to take care of myself, but they're most of all they're concerned about serving the community because they understand what's at stake.
Yeah, it really did. And I know, like I said, you was just a 2 year journey for the one you were doing. You were hustling, bustling out there in the community. I'm like Ursula said when she went to when I sent her all your information, you were like, how did you sleep? Because you got so much stuff going on from top all the way to bottom, and it's like no dead space. It's no break in between. What does keep you going? It's like you're a woman, but it's like you're a machine at the same time because you're constantly going at all times nonstop. But you know what it is? Because you love what you do. And that's what we respect here on the show. Extraordinary people as yourself doing extraordinary things. So I give you your roses. I get a guy's cigars, but give you a rose. So keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you. I apologize.
Nah, you good. You good. Urs, you have anything you want to ask?
I just love what you stand for and what you're about because Furman, I'm always saying on the show, a heart of a servant. And people need to care more. People need to just understand. This is God's purpose for our life. That's what that we're walking in obedience. We're letting Him order our steps according to His will, His plan, and His purpose. It's not about us at the end of the day. So I just love what you're doing, and I love the family concept. When I have daughters, they're twins. They just turned 20. But I'm the one who started the family meeting concept. And they used to think it was so fun. Oh, what we're going to talk about now. So I just love everything that you stand for and represent.
Thank you so much. Furman mentioned what keeps me going because it appears like I do a lot, and some would say, but I don't do a lot. It's productive, right, Furman?
Yeah, for you get on me, yes, productive, because I ain't gonna say beats. You get on my case.
So what I really do is it's really about the way I use my time.
Yeah.
A lot of people they have their favorite shows on television, and that has its place. But for me, I just have a different interest. So instead of maybe watching television, I'm using my time to work on my business because
Okay.
I find it entertaining because I love it, right?
Right.
Or I may spend time to call and check on a friend and offer prayer to my friend and talk with them. So I'm not just chit chatting or gossiping on the phone. It has a purpose and value, right? So that's
Right.
what I do is just I find ways to just incorporate the natural person of who I am into what I do already. So it becomes my entertainment. It's my social hour. It's my servitude, my ministry, right? It's work. Everything just kind of overlaps. So where it looks busy, many of those times it's a blessing opportunity or it's a pleasurable opportunity. It's not I'm not going in with this oh, I've got an 8 to 5 minutes. No, I'm providing a service. So because of that, I'm able to really enjoy and use my time and really get the best out of everything that I'm doing.
And you know
That's
what?
really good. That's really good.
That's truly a blessing, Chica, what you're doing. And your story is encouraging somebody, to inspire somebody to speak to their core that if Chica could do it, I could do it too. And like I said, it's just the great work that you're doing, the input that you're doing. You're, very active. And I'm at about, so part of your journey. How important is your nutrition, exercise? I know you have grandchildren, so I know they keep you productive, keep you going. So part of your journey, how is the nutrition and how is the working out? Because I know that plays a role as well, especially when you take on that role of office. So how do you implement all that into your schedule?
It's really about, number one, doing what comes natural, right? And yeah, there are times that you have to challenge yourself. There are times that you don't want to get up out of the bed to go work out, but you have to walk the fine line to not only challenge yourself, but also listen to your body. There's a space for that. So I get up in the morning. I work out before having a smoothie, and I have a canister where I'll take a smoothie all day. I have a smoothie, about 64 ounces worth of smoothie with me in the event that I need to have a quick meal and I'm not able to sit down. But what I do is I really try to use that time when I'm working out. That's also my prayer and meditation, right? And when I'm eating on the go, I'm tossing back a smoothie, or I'm scheduling meetings around dinner time. Right? You just really overlap and incorporate everything into what you need to do during the day. I am doing well. I've actually lost some weight that I gained from from some of the campaign activities. It's all about eating and socializing. No, just kidding.
That sounds like the fun part.
We're always eating. So really managing what you want your nutrition to look like, even when you're out, just making a different choice about what you eat, and then remembering that we get Texas size portions in Texas, so we don't have to eat the whole meal, right? We can eat half the meal. So I just really do things to just make it part of a regular day to day. I try not to make it such a big deal, because then it's uncomfortable.
Yeah, most definitely. And before we get ready to finish our conversation, we're going to take a quick commercial break. And after that commercial break, we're going to finish up our conversation. So be back here, everybody.
With today's technological advances and fast-paced life, BMS is your trusted next-generation IT solutions provider that keeps you ahead of the competition. From humble beginnings, BMS Company is now one of the fastest-growing software engineering service providers, with international presence and golden reputation for excellence. The BMS Company is your one-stop global destination for web development, mobile application development, digital marketing, SEO, Facebook and Google advertising, social media management, business consulting, printing services, and many more. BMS is trusted to provide timely, cost-effective solutions. At BMS, we believe in providing guaranteed results, irrespective of a project's complexity. No stories, no excuses. And core to all of our operation is that we practice what we preach, and we deliver what we promise. We're proud of our dream team of solution-driven enthusiasts, comprising of industry experts in various fields, including blockchain, IoT, and AI. Our unique makeup and cooperate synergy enables BMS to add heart to technology while delivering our trademark exceptional results for our esteemed customers. Get free 3 months of hosting and 30 days SEO when you partner with us today. Call us now on 469-992-4567 or visit our website at thebmscompany.com.
Back here on Walking This Way Impact Force podcast. I am your host, Furman Jackson Jr. We're broadcast once again from the DFW, that's down in Fort Worth, Texas, along with my lovely co-host, Ursula, and our featured guest, Jeca Williams, as well. She's running for city council for the seat of Grand Prairie. That's in Grand Prairie, Texas, of course. She's excited. She's enthusiastic. And those that just tuning in, it's great to see people at Jeca doing great things, ladies and gentlemen. She's passionate about what she's doing. She's purpose driven about what she's doing to really make an impact on our generation and for generations to come. So we're very honored and very privileged to have her hang out with us this morning. And she talked about her run for city council for Grand Prairie. And how can people how can they donate? How can they be more involved? Because we know that I understand you're a one woman army. I understand that. But how can everybody else be plugged in? How can they get involved? How can they help? Because we know it does take all of us to help make that change.
Thank you. I'm actually not a one woman army. I'm spiritual, so there's actually 4 of us.
Okay.
Right.
Okay, I love it.
So for those who catch that later. Well, you can actually go to my website, Jeca4GP, and there's a link there that you can donate. Anything you can give will help. Text messages only cost a few cents, so if you're able to give toward that campaign, I text them and remind them to vote that day, remind them when the voting is. I also send out mailers, so I do have the cost of stamps and those inks and materials. All of the money that I raise is really just to help get something in the hand of the voter to get them to go out and vote. I knock on doors. I have my dear friend, Constable Sandra Lee. She helps me, drives me so that I can get in and out the car efficiently and knock on doors. I'm so thankful for her. My friends, they'll call and they'll offer that support. There's an amazing family out there in Grand Prairie, the Buellers, who knock on doors to help me. They've already knocked on over 300 doors, I believe. So that just goes to let you know that people believe in what we can do. Having me in the office is really not about me. It's about me making sure that I'm the voice of the people that are not there, so that I can speak up for us when they're making decisions, when we're making decisions. Of course, I have the interests of the city as a whole as well, but my primary interest should be focused on what we need to do in District 1 for family, community. We want people to stay in their homes 20, 30 years. We want them to pass it down to their children, because people are so quick to sell the home when the mom dies and run off, right? But we want that family, that legacy, that knowledge, wisdom, education, experience. We need all of that to stay right here in our community. So reach out. You can contact me through the website as well, Jeca4GP. I do answer my messages myself. So if you want to learn more about me, I'm here. I'm on all platforms as Jeca4GP. You can DM me and I'll reply. So, yeah.
Awesome stuff. And like I said, just the work, the groundwork, and the voice of the people, the voice of the public. And correct me if I'm wrong, y'all do have, there are open meetings, right, for the public to come to attend. We know we have some people. I know I went to the one in Dallas a couple months ago. It was like earlier during the day. Big shout out to Paige Jackson. She invited me and Coach Shay to it. It's just amazing that it's not that many people that really comes out to these meetings. You have people that are there who very passionate, concerned about their neighborhoods, but not as a whole. Where some they complain, but they're not willing to do anything about it. So it's like no excuses, ladies and gentlemen. If you make it out to these meetings, find out what's going on in your neighborhood. Find out what's going on in your district. Don't keep turning a blind eye. Just find out. Take time out of your productive schedule and see what's going on. A lot of times people complain that you're doing it, but they have means for y'all to attend to. So what can they expect when you're in that office? What can they expect when it comes to their meetings? And a lot of people have concerns about the roads and this and that. How would you address the public when they come with these concerns?
Well, first off, when you come, you do have the opportunity to speak, right? You sign up at the beginning and you have the opportunity to speak, of course, within the parameters, because we want to be able to give everyone a fair opportunity to be heard. So the most important thing is to listen. right? But also be approachable. It's so important that in our quest and attempt to share our message with determination, as adamant and passionate as we are about our concerns, we also have to share that information in a way that it can be heard. Oftentimes, because of our own excitement, we share our message from a place that's not received very well, because the energy in which we share our message overshadows the words that we're saying. So the first most important thing I want to encourage people to do is have the right posture about yourself when you come to share your concerns, so that you don't take away from the message, right? Sometimes our flamboyance will draw away and then be used as an excuse not to hear the words that we're saying. So what I do is I really work to be approachable, so that if a person is not comfortable sharing at the city council meeting, that they're able to send me an email and make a phone call, so that we can talk about it in a one-on-one situation, understanding that not everyone has the same skill set, not everyone is comfortable, but I will be the voice that you can approach me in any manner, and I'm able to transition and conduct myself as a leader and as a servant. I'm responsible for making the transition to meet you where you are. So that's what I want to do for the people.
Yeah, and that's the most important. Effective communication, getting things which you have to get across, and it's the way you're doing it and stuff like that. So get out and be involved. So I know it is early voting taking place right now, correct?
Yes, we are right in the middle of early voting. They're at the polls today. So you can vote today, as well as Monday and Tuesday. And then again, next Saturday is the final election day. So I'm just encouraging everyone to go out, vote. You cannot create the change you want to see when you don't do anything to help change the person. Change only comes through people, right? Oftentimes I hear people say it'll never change. It doesn't do anything, people do. So we are responsible for making sure that we have people in office that are more like-minded of what we are than not. And so that's something I want to encourage everyone.
Yeah, so get out there, ladies and gentlemen. If you know out today, get out, do some early voting. Really let your voice be heard, let your vote be heard. You got the opportunity to do it. Get out there and make it happen, and learn. Really learn, get excited about this venture. And I mentioned something earlier, breaking the algorithm. So this part of breaking the algorithm for some is you doing something different, learning something different, just getting out your comfort. So you know what? Let me learn something about office. Let me learn about the different offers they have in these places, and to really, really help you out if you really want to learn. So get out there and learn. Be open-minded. Be involved, and all the other great stuff. So, Earth, you have anything you want to ask?
I do. Because, like I said, Jeca, I love your resume. I love what you're doing. I love that you have a heart of a servant. But also, as a Black woman, what advice do you have for these young Black girls who are looking at you and they're saying, "Oh, I want to run for council and I want to be in this position to be able to help others"? What advice would you give them?
She beat her mic. Let's see.
Can she hear me?
Her mic is muted. She will go back in. Let's see. But keep on going. See. Can you hear us? No, I think her mic is. Let's see. I think her mic is muted. She got another bigger mic. We're gonna keep it going, but like I said, we really gonna keep it. Okay. All right, hey, we're gonna take a quick break, right quick. We're gonna take a quick break, and after that break, we're gonna jump right back into our conversation.
M Green Enterprises, the home of Malira Green, your confidence coach. She is a licensed clinical social worker who serves as a therapist, clinical supervisor, master healer, and transformative speaker. Malira is fiercely committed to guiding individuals to become unstuck and motivated to confidently reach their goals while owning their God-given gifts. She serves as the bridge between your caterpillar and butterfly moment. If you are ready to transform, check out www.maliratransforms.com, where she is ready.
I remember all the lies that you said.
Everybody, can we hear each other out? Can we good?
Yes.
Cool bean. We're back here on Walking This Way, the Stand For Us podcast. Go ahead.
I sincerely apologize. I had no idea that anyone would be using a jackhammer on the outside of my door. I was like, what are you doing? But they're so kind. They listened. They were really respectful to give us time. I apologize for that. But Ursula, I did not get your last question. So if you'll just please ask me again, I'd be glad to answer.
No worries, Jeca. I understand. I was saying, because we were talking about your resume and how impeccable it is and all that you're doing for the community and, having a heart of a servant. So I just, from a standpoint, I know as a Black woman, what advice would you give young Black girls who are watching you and they're like, oh, I want to be a council, I want to run for office, because they need to be empowered.
Well, the first thing I would want to do is thank you again, Ursula, for your kind words. But we really have to build that confidence up in our young girls to help them understand that they are valued just the way that they are. That they are important just the way that they are. Help them understand that they have something to give. They have something to offer. I think sometimes we have an idea of what our values should look like, not realizing that we are valuable already, just the way that we are. So it's our job as parents and adults in the community to help foster that, right? Notice and pay attention to your child's interests. My children joke all the time. My daughter, she picked up needle and thread. I said, oh, sewing class, right? Somebody was coloring a piece of paper. Oh, you must want to go to art class, right? So every little thing I paid attention to and tried to understand how to cultivate their interests to help grow them and become what they could be. So for our young Black little girls and our young men and our boys, it's really about helping them identify their value, helping them move in confidence, but also what that looks like. I think that social media, and let me say, using social media negatively, because social media in of itself is not bad, but using social media negatively helps, it really misconstrues what confidence looks like. And we are responsible for teaching them what confidence looks like, the art of communication, posture, dignity, pride, how to have a sound moral value about yourself, because all of those things come into play. Oftentimes we're at a space where people just need to take me how I am. I get that, right? But with that being said, there is a way to present, because you keep in mind, you're selling yourself all the time. You're selling your ideas, who you are, your value, because your name is your brand at this point. I've learned that, if nothing else, in the last few years. Your name is your brand. So when someone thinks of your name, what brand and message, what is the first thing that comes to mind when your name is spoken? And that's what you'll want to be concerned about. That's what carries you forward as you continue to grow and develop life and legacy for you, your family, and every generation that comes out of you. So I would just encourage you to consider what you want your life to look like, and make sure that your steps and everything that you do lines up with the dream, because it can happen. It's just it's all about being intentional.
And I agree 1,000% of what you're
Definitely.
saying. And having that green light, when I say the green light, encouraging someone if they have a dream of doing something major and having something big, and just give them the green light. They need to hear that. They need to hear that I can do this instead of hearing you can't do that. Come back down to reality. That ain't gonna work. People don't need to hear that. They need to hear they say, "Hey, you can do it. You will make it. You will succeed," and that would take them, uh, just to and fro to say, you know what, I'm gonna do great things. So having that support system, and I remember I had a guest on the podcast. It was a daughter and her dad. She's 11 years old. She cuts hair, and she raps. And her dad, she said, her dad said, the daughter came and said, I want to do music. He said, okay, go ahead. Let me see what you got. He didn't discourage her. He encouraged her. And that's what people need to hear more of. If they say, hey, I want to run for office, oh, they don't know. No, just say, go ahead, do it. That's what people need to hear. They need to hear that, hey, you know what? I'm going to make this thing happen. So I'm glad that came up.
But we have to understand how to foster those interests. It's one thing to say, okay, you can do it, and then we go back to television and the child is sitting there like, okay. So when they tell us what their interest is, we bear responsibility. So if someone says, I want to run for office one day, find a campaign to get them involved and pass out literature, or just to be in that space. There are a lot of people running for office that are always open and honest and available. I'm always open to have someone hang along with me, hang out with me, and learn. They will learn how we carry ourselves, how you carry yourself in community, in public, learn how to transition in different environments. All those things are from being actively involved. And that's what we're responsible for. So yes, we do need to encourage people to go, go, go. But we're responsible for putting them in a space to cultivate that interest. Because my children, they know you're going to end up in a class. So we have to make sure that we are giving them every opportunity to grow. But at the same time, be careful. We talked about this last night in an amazing event. Last night, we talked about being careful that we're not imposing our own ideas and which we should have could have put us into our children, so that we end up forcing them into a path that's really not their space, and then they are not able to grow and become the best at it. So now you have that energy and everything. So it's really about getting outside of ourselves, paying attention to our children, and facilitating that interest that they're showing.
Right. So basically, hand in hand, I'm now reading this in the book. It's like you can't say I want to go to the NBA and then you sit around play PlayStation all day. So you have to put in the work. So it goes hand in hand. Okay, I want to do this. Okay, so now this is what you need to do in order to get to that path. So I agree with that. It go hand in hand with that.
Yeah. And we have to continuously encourage them because our society wants to discourage them. They want to pull them away from those dreams. I say it all the time. People don't dream anymore. It's like that has been stolen.
And I believe I talked with my daughter about this. Sometimes we are so concerned about informing and educating and giving information to our children because we want to explain everything. We don't want them to ever have to guess. We explain and share so much information that we rob them of the freedom to imagine and dream and have to create, because we're pouring so much information to them, sometimes prematurely. So it really comes out of a space of creating a safe, fun, free place where we can develop those dreams instead of, only 1% out of 100,000 people ever really achieve X, Y.
Oh, yeah.
That's what we're telling people because we want them to understand the reality and we want them to know the truth. But oftentimes we're taking away the dream because now everything is so tangible. Like there's no lofty ideas and thinking of creativity, which really burns out everything else. So I totally agree with what you're saying.
Yeah, that is because it just stuff that's been said, these cliches, like I said, these statistics that people make up to, I don't know why, just to scare people, intimidate people. But it's weird. It's weird. It's real goofy out here. But they coming out these cliches and these theories or whatever they come out with to discourage. And now we're seeing a lot of headbutting. We don't see a lot of coming together, working as a team, just really working together as one. It's like we had a conversation about this on the show. You know, you have some of this and you have that. What would happen just working together, humbling ourselves, listen to each other, because God gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth. The Bible tells us to be quick to hear and slow to speak. But now we so quick to speak and slow to hear that we're not developing this information. And have to learn how to humble yourself, listen to what somebody has to say. But now it's like everybody just so divided. Some people are so I'm against this, against. It's like, why y'all try to outdo each other instead of just working together? It's not no competition at all. Period. Just work together, humble yourself. But we just see more of that now. It's more divided than ever. It's like, what happened to just really just coming together?
Because everyone's at competition.
And I think it's because of the need to survive. Everyone is fighting to survive. And we forget that there are enough people in this world for everybody to eat.
It is.
There's enough people in this world that everybody can sell a house to somebody, right? And we have to keep that in mind and go back to a time where we can, if we work together, we can come up with more, right? But we also have to be willing to share it. So I think that sometimes there's such a desire to survive, and everyone only sees their battle, right? I can only see my problem, that we don't realize that by voting and enhancing your city, I was telling someone this yesterday, by voting and enhancing the people that are making decisions in your city can make decisions that will actually help you. So your struggle is not as hard, right? So things are not as bad for you. But when we are not able to lift our head from our own problem just for 20 minutes to go and vote, and that decision can affect you and improve your life for the next 3, 5, 10 years,
right?
Then we're not able to really get ahead, because all we see is, well, this is my problem, nobody's going to help me with my problem. Not understanding how all of these other things will influence your problem, good and bad. So just take time out to go and vote 20 minutes out your day and see what changes could come out of that. And then voice something that we know. Let us know what your concerns are, what you need for your city. You are having to get your rims refinished every 3 months because you're hitting a pothole. Well, the person that will make a decision and vote or make the infrastructure decisions about getting the pothole fixed is your city council. So your 20 minutes that you refuse to go and vote to get someone in there that actually cares about your streets can save you hundreds of dollars on rim repair, or getting your struts changed, or having to get your car back, your tires balanced, because you keep hitting these unseen potholes in the middle of the night. So we don't understand how it all works together. So it's so important that we get involved in what's going on and do things to create change, so that we can stop complaining and having some of the struggles that we're having. We are not doing anything about it.
And that's it. Because the title of this episode is "Be the Change You Wish to See in the World." That's the title of this episode. Change start with you. If you ever seen the movie Notorious Big, they was talking about change. He said to change the world, but he said we got to change us first. Change start with us first. So if you want to see the change, start within you. And now, Jig, I'm glad that majority of us are being open now, enlightened now on, baby, to research, baby, to get out of our comfort zone, breaking the algorithm, but just really getting out of our comfort zone, learn to be more open-minded because we've been so closed-minded for so long, but now we've become open-minded. So I'm gonna ask you also, by you being in office, how important is it too for you to be open-minded? Because I know a lot of times people become so closed-minded that they forget to be open-minded. Because if you closed-minded, you'll never get new information, new data. But how is it important for you to be open-minded? I know you're dealing with all types of people from different walks of life. So how do you adjust that? It made me remind me of when Paul said, "I became all things to all men that they
Yes.
might be saved." So how do
Yeah.
you implement that in your position of office?
It's really important that you're able to hear and process what someone is telling you,
Right.
even if they're not from a space or a culture that you're familiar with. We all have a one-sided view in some ways because of our own child rearing, our own experiences. But it's really important. I'm a mediator. I interact with all types of people. I deal with conflict from business and corporates who are arguing over hospital bills, all the way to families that are fighting over their visitation schedule for children, families that are arguing over the care of their elderly mother, their aging parents, uh, divorced couples who are fighting over the maternal grandmother's tea set. So you have to be in a space where you can consider and hear and really understand the perspective and where someone is coming from.
Right.
And the best way to do that, in addition to listening, is asking questions and then reading. Reading so that you can understand that in the Nepali culture, greeting, this is a sign of respect and it's a greeting to them. So that you're able to connect with people based on where they are. Learning that
Mm.
in the Latino community, not only do they um, do the traditional fist bump, but they're going to do an extra fist bump move with that greeting and knowing how to show them that you welcome their diversity and you're educated and you're learning. Where I can speak enough Spanish to let them see that I'm trying. I appreciate and respect your culture. That I can greet you and connect with you and ask you to vote because of what I want to do and tell you what I want to do in your language, right? So it's really about connecting with people, showing them that you understand and that you can hear them and ask questions. People want to share their perspective, their ideas with you because everyone wants to be understood. And through understanding, we're able to break down the barriers that we face. We're able to overcome a lot of the racial experiences that we have. But it really starts with listening and asking questions.
Yeah, most definitely. And I'm glad
That's
you
really
that we
good.
talk about that because that is so important. Being diverse, being open. So think about it, we come in contact with different people from different walks of life. And I'm glad now we're breaking the algorithm because okay, based on the color of my skin, okay, I'm a black guy, so I'm expected to listen to rap because I'm black. No, that's just they program. You can be black and listen to alternative music. You can be black and listen to pop music, country music, whatever. But just really just being diverse, breaking the barrier because you come with contact with different walks of people every day. It's gonna be people that don't look like you. It's gonna be people that don't talk like you. It's gonna be people that don't act like you. But the respect factor.
Yeah.
That's what I'm gonna get to the respect factor. You don't believe what I don't believe in. No, it's that respect factor. Paul said, I can all things to all men that they might be saved. And I remember we had a big shout out to Cody when I went to his class on marketing and branding, and he was just talking about being diverse. If I'm in a class with people that's dressed up in suits and ties, why I need to go wearing baggy jeans, a cap, and a t-shirt? They're not gonna receive me. So I have to, I got a message. I have to dress the part so they better receive it better if I'm compared to I'm just wearing t-shirts and the jeans and the baseball cap. They're not gonna receive me. I don't look like them. But if I look like them, then they'll receive the message a whole lot better. So I just want to throw that out there too because that's very important being diverse.
Very.
All right. So, Ursa, you have anything you want to ask?
I want to actually piggyback off something that Jika said earlier in reference to the importance of voting. Of course, if you don't vote, you really don't have a voice, but
Right.
also the importance of knowing who you're voting for, actually knowing the policies and amendments and not just marking whatever you see on the sheet. Being able to research the person you're voting for, knowing their beliefs, knowing, how they feel about certain things.
Break down the rhythm.
I totally agree. And while I knock on doors and I do everything that I can, most people aren't answering their doors because they have a little ring doorbell now. So they'll look out there. They don't know me. I'll talk to the doorbell. You're going to get this message. And we can only do so much as candidates and elected officials. We can invite you out. We can have barbecues. We can share the information. We can put it on the website. We can do all of these things. But oftentimes people say, well, nobody came and told me. Nobody called me. Nobody sent me a message. But we all bear an equal responsibility to seek out information. We are able to find out information about anything else that we want to do. So we bear a responsibility to show up, to read, to check it out, to find out what's going on in our city and get involved. And it starts with an action that we take to get involved and find out what's going on so that we can make it what we want it to be, instead of being so quick to leave or complain or really influence negative thinking in other people. We can start our own crusade, and each of us can do something to create the change, right, that we want to see, because it doesn't happen by itself.
Right.
And it's one of my little pet peeves, along with saying busy, Furman. My other pet peeve is it'll work itself out. It'll be okay. It'll work. It is what it is. It doesn't do anything. People do. So we have to make an intentional decision to create change and make choices that will provoke change. It's an intentional action. It's impossible to sit on the sofa and think that things are going to change in your city without doing anything at all. We know the foundation on which our city was built, our country was built. The changes that we have seen in these years are only because something happened with a person. A person made a decision and took action based on that decision. So in order to create the change and allow life to become what you want it to be, you bear a responsibility, equal responsibility, to create the change that you want to see.
Most definitely. And listen, Furman took productive. I'm about to take that phrase. It doesn't do anything. People do. I'm going to be saying that all the time now.
But Oh, there you go. There you go. There.
I love it. I love it.
Also, I was looking at this too. It made me think about, as we talk. I pulled this up on my phone. Martin Luther King says this: I look to a day when people would not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. And that's something that I apply to my own life. It's not about the color of the skin, about the character. And I really could, when Ursula was saying that made me think about that quote from Martin Luther King. Not just going by, I'm voting for this or doing this because you're black. Okay, study the character. Study the background history of the individual. And then you like, you know what? I'm not doing this because she's a woman or she's black. I'm doing it because I love her character. I love her spirit. And then start developing that. That's breaking that algorithm once again. I'm just doing this because they told me because you're black or you're a Democrat or you're a Republican. No, it should be about the content of their character. So that made me think the person was saying that.
Yeah, I totally agree, Furman. And I think that it's up to us on how we show what our character is, right? I used to tell my children, you are what you do. If you sweep, you're a sweeper, right? If you lie, you're a liar. You are what you do. So we
Mhm.
bear a responsibility for looking like what we want to represent, who we are. We're so quick to say that how I look has nothing to do with who I am on the inside. Okay, to a certain extent. But going back to what you said in those marketing spaces or business spaces, all of that is a total package that represents an idea.
Mm.
All of that represents a belief system, a moral, a value, a character. What you choose. I learned this on the campaign trail. I am my own billboard. I am my own billboard. So now you see me in yellow every day, right? But I've learned that everything about me is communicating something to people. It's marketing, it's sharing my value system. I have a responsibility for how I present myself because that is a message that is going to be received. I get to create what that message looks like, yes, but it's impossible to pick and choose what part of a person because it all works together. It all works together, right, to create an image and an idea of who you are. So we have to not pick and choose what part of our image we want to take responsibility for.
Right.
It all works to send a message of whatever that looks like. So we need to take that a little bit more intentionally.
Right. And you know what? I'm glad because we had talked about this on the show too. And we have people that show integrity. They never compromise. They never sold out. You know, we had an R&B singer on the show not so long ago, and she said when she performed, it was Kelly, and when she performed at the Apollo, they wanted her to dress a certain type of way. If you look at it, she's very classy. She's not showing a lot. She's not revealing a lot of her body. She's very classy, and she was like, the people at Apollo wanted her to wear these some type of revealing outfit. She said she wasn't doing that because they'll be more focused on my body and focus instead of the gift. And I like how you carry yourself. You're a beautiful woman, but you carry yourself with class, elegance. And I'm just saying, I'm just giving facts from your style of wear, your dress. You have that conservative look about yourself, not compromising. Like, okay, I gotta look this kind of way in order to get accepted. But you want them to focus more on your gift instead of the physical attributes of who you are. And I applaud you for that. Just everything about what you was talking about. And big shout out to Anthony. You know, he designed shoes in Chicago, and he said this customer wanted him to put some type of negative images on his shoes. He said, "Hey, I'm not doing that." And the guy wanted to do these shoes for a video, but he wanted to shoot the shoes up on the video. And he told the guy he was not doing that. And the guy got mad and was harassing him about it. But it showed me that people that does have integrity, they're not gonna sell they sell out for $1. They know what they believe in and what they stand on. So it just made me think about what you were saying, and maybe them individuals came to mind.
It is important that we understand that everything is an extension of your brand. Right? I tell my children, we are representing each other. Right?
True.
You go out looking crazy, you affected everybody. We have a brand as a family. We should be upholding a particular idea. No, not everybody's going to do that. I get it. But we still have a responsibility for communicate how important it is that when we're out, that there's pride in who we are and how we interact with each other, that we let them know. I don't want anyone to come and say, "That's your mama," you know. Yeah, okay, girl. Yes. So, but unfortunately, we're getting to a time where everything is really not taken as intentionally.
Right.
We've gotten a little bit more comfortable, and that's fine too. But everything has its place, right?
Right.
Depending on your setting, the room, what you're trying to communicate. I have times where I dress a lot more relaxed, where I can fit into a setting. Because if I can't fit into a setting, then how am I going to influence the people in that space when I create and carry myself in a way that's so set apart that I can't even draw people in to understand that I am just like you. I am out here just trying to help people. I have the same struggles and the same problems. but I can relate to everybody's space. I've lived with and I've lived without, more without than with. So I can understand what it's like to have to find somebody to give me a boost on the side of the road. I know. But then I also learned that I need roadside assistance. So, I know, well, I get it. I understand. So it's so important that we connect with people that really understand and are able to help us grow and get where we want to go.
Hey, yeah, most definitely. And like I said, we are live streaming right now, ladies and gentlemen. We're live streaming on Facebook Live, YouTube, and Twitter as well. So if you're on three different platforms, put in the comment section. We'd love to hear from you. Have any questions that you want to share, go ahead, put them in the comment section. I want to give a big shout out to Seven Truth that's watching. Big shout out to the Quan as well. The Quan be on here with us on the show on Wednesdays, of course. Big shout out to him. Big shout out to everybody who support the program, the podcast. Go to our website. The website up and running now. You can donate. You can purchase on our online store as well. So we're very excited about the growth and elevation. And I just want to get back to it. Integrity. And we have to be careful now. I have to be careful. I'm out there now. Because we have to be careful what we say, where we go, and what we do. Because everything is wide open now. So accountability. How important is accountability? Because we out there now in the public. So now people know you. There's now I have to be careful what I say. Not saying you're pleasing people, but at the same time, like you said, your brand. You have to protect your brand at all costs. I have to be careful what I say, where I go, what I do. So how is important for people to have accountability, Jeca, in their branding? Because that's very important, the integrity aspect.
Accountability is something that you have to have a humble spirit in order to allow yourself to be held accountable.
Mm-hmm.
You have to approach your task, your community with humility in order to be held accountable to people and their impressions of you, their ideas about you, and you take that responsibility. So with accountability, there comes criticism, some good and bad. Mm-hmm. And you have to be able to consider it all, because even the worst of things are things you can learn from.
Right.
But when it comes to accountability, there's a very fine line, because you have to make sure that you do fact checks on things that are approached to you. Not necessarily fact checks on scholarly journals, but you have to check it against what you're called to do inside. You have to make sure that you consider what someone tells you, and then you make sure that it lines up with your belief system, because everybody has a different belief system, and you get to a place where you can be confident in knowing that you are considering others' perspectives, but then also you're confident in what you're doing and that you're not easily swayed. Because through accountability comes a lot of opinions. And you have to be careful that you do not fall in line with ideas, opinions, and things that don't line up with what you believe your purpose is. So having that accountability, yes, we need it. It is important because it keeps us in line, it keeps us balanced, but also we still bear the ultimate responsibility for making sure that we're in line with what we're supposed to do, regardless of what other people tell us.
Right. Yeah, I agree with that 1,000%. What you're saying, Jig, is just that protecting ourselves from every hurt, harm, and danger. Your brand is what people say when you're not in the room, and that's how it should be. And at all costs, I just believe in the integrity, protecting self, meaning what you say, how you present yourself. And it's like, you know what? I mean, even Jesus said this: by their fruits you shall know them. So you'll see the fruits of what they do. It's like, you know what? If somebody says something, nah, that's not their character. Well, I say that because I know them. So I know you're not saying that's not right. I know them. And that's why I want to get at. So protect your brand, ladies and gentlemen. Protect your brand at all costs. And another thing, too, I see a lot of people do. If you're in business, or not just in business, where you're in politics or running for office, what you're doing, be mindful not to express your personal business on social media. People will shun away from that. Even though you may be going through things on the back end, the world don't need to see that. And I see a lot of people do that. It show you that you're unstable. And like people, I don't want to associate myself with that, so let me just keep my distance from that. So maintain that integrity at all costs, even though you may be upset about something. But you know what? Still got to protect my brand, because at the end of the day, either I'm going to keep the brand going, I'm going to bring it down. I can't fault nobody else. So I just want to plug that into the listening audience as well. Also,
That's a very good point, Furman. But I also want to add to that,
go
in
ahead.
that, yes, we do need to be careful about what we share personally. We also need to make sure that we are really being led and coming from a good place when we share whatever we share, even if it's personal. Right? Sharing personal is okay if it is being shared with an intention to help, an intention to be a witness or a testimony or an influence. Right? It's a way to do. If you are not healed from that experience, you want to take time and do that, so that when you do share it, you're sharing it from a very specific place of help and influence. You're not just sharing the first feelings of it. You're sharing it with an intention. And then when you share it, you're not sharing it for self-interest. You're not sharing it out of your own self-motivation. That you're sharing it intentionally, because that will shape how you share the information.
Right.
People need to see that you're a real person, right?
Yes.
You don't want to share only so much of your brand that they think that you don't have any problems. Right? You still need to be able to see, hey, I'm human. I have the same problems, because people want someone in office that can relate. They want to interact with businesses and people that understand where they're coming from. The times of these facades of images and ideas are gone. It is time that we are able to connect, because through that transparency, we're able to influence and truly help people. That's what's going on. People are tired of the cliche statements. They're tired of facade images of what's going on. They want to see real people with real problems that can communicate and share and understand and help them become better in their space. So while yes, we do need to be careful with the sharing personal, but we need to share it with a very intentional, direct approach for truly helping.
Definitely,
Yeah,
I
that's
love
it.
that. I'm really big on transparency, and I love how you point out those bullets of being responsible and healing from it before you voice it, before you give others your experience.
Yeah, because they really do. Because some people, they don't get the answer to it. They just go on and on and on and on to people's like, you know what? It sounds like to me need to get some psychological therapy. That's how you need to get some therapy. Yeah. So we there too. But I'm glad this has become open minded now, because people are starting to address the elephant in the room now. So people are now become more open minded. More communication starting to take place now, but people were so quiet for so long about certain things. Well, because they feel like they're gonna be judged. Which we already judge ourselves anyway. Sometimes I'm not good enough. They're not gonna like me. I don't know what this. Was where I came from or who my family is. So we kind of like we judges ourselves, but break the algorithm and say, you know what? I am fearfully wonderfully made. I am in the apple of God's eye. I am the head and not the tail. Just start saying, affirmation about ourselves, because we already judge ourselves because of where we came from, or what educational background. I don't look the part. I'm not tall enough, and I'm this and that. But how can we break that barrier, break that block that keeps us from progressing? Because we supposed to evolve every way. Every time God open our eyes up for another day, it's another day for another chance at life. What advice would you give someone who gets stuck at that point in their life? I'm not good enough. I don't have the education. I'm not tall. They're not going to accept me. How can you help? How can you help somebody break that in order to overcome, succeed, and conquer?
It's interesting. I attended a event, sisterhood WTF, which is Women That Forgive, hosted by Noelle Bowen on last night. And one of the young women, she said, we have to give ourselves grace. That really stuck with me because we're so quick to add these external pressures to ourselves based on how we were raised. My dear friend Sharonda, she was saying that we have been raised to believe that we can do anything and we can have anything and we can have everything and that we are strong and there's nothing that we can't do. Well, while that's true, there are some things that may not be in our wheelhouse. Just may not be. Um, so we have to add grace to that idea. We can really accept ourselves and identify our uniqueness and our value because we compare ourselves to these ideas that maybe has been presented to us through social media, through television media, through paper advertisements and the like. But I can appreciate that our culture and our society is changing to a place where all of the uniqueness is able to come together. And if we get to decide which idea we latch on to, we get to decide and choose how we want to see ourselves. So it starts in my idea. I believe it starts with forgiveness. That's a really big thing for me. It starts with forgiving myself and understanding that I am doing the best that I can every minute of the day with everything that I have. Even the days that I want to be lazy and not do anything, I am doing the best that I can at that time because that's where I am. That's my space. That's what I need. And I can respect and appreciate that about myself, offering myself grace and an opportunity to mess up because I mess up a lot. And I've messed up even yesterday on something that I wanted to say and didn't say, or something I said I wish I wouldn't have said. But then using that as a learning opportunity and forgiving myself well enough that I can try again the next day. So I really believe it starts with grace and forgiveness of ourselves, choices that we've made, forgiving ourselves for the lack of confidence that we want to have that we don't, and then going to the next phase, which would be to empower ourselves through education, through surrounding ourselves around people that are like-minded, but also where we want to be so that we can always be a mentor and a mentee. We always need to be in the middle where we're growing towards someone and then we're helping someone that's behind us, understanding that we have the tools that we need, that we may not know how to use them, but we have the tools. And through education, getting involved in our community, voting, friendships, spiritual growth, reading, all of those things can really empower us to become the person that we ultimately want to be.
Right, most definitely. And just really not to be just so judgmental. People scared of being judged so bad already. But being open where they can feel the embracement, they can feel the love. I just thank God for learning this experience. I really do. Where you went through a divorce, whether you went through a loss of a job, a loss of a loved one, whatever, we can learn from it. It's a lot, and just learn from it. So I'm glad you brought that up, Chica, as well. So I thank God for these experiences, these learning experiences. You can learn from these things. Okay, I went through this situation before. What can I learn? Why would not put myself in the same situation again? And I'll tell anybody that. So I thank God for learning this experience. Being open, embrace people. I remember years ago, back in 2010, I did an episode when I was living back home in Mobile called Beauty and the Beast. Beauty and the Beast was, we talk about everything. I had an ex-porn star, a person that had homosexuality, used to be a homosexuality. Do you know they stories help people out? It really did. It really helped people out. This young man said, man, he hit me up on Facebook. He said, man, I'm glad you brought this up because I was struggling with this in my life, and I'm glad that this came out because the Bible says confess your faults one to another. that you may be healed. The prayers of righteous avail as much. So it's important that people need to be healed. So if somebody come to you and say, hey, brother, sister, I've been struggling in this area for so long, let's not judge them. Let the healing take place. And I know what it takes mature individuals to get to that mindset, because somebody tell you this, oh, I got to go tell everybody. No, you don't go tell everybody. A person crying out for help. So as you step in, let God do the healing. That's what I wanted to say. People want to be healed. They don't want to be. They get tired of being cast stones after they've been doing that all their life. They want healing. So what stopped them from being healed? So that made me brought that up, because people want to be free. The Bible said, whom the Son set free is free indeed. So people want to be free. They're just afraid of that. If I go tell this person this, they're going to judge me, cast stones at me. No, let's get past the judgmental part. Yeah. Let's grow involved. And say, you know what, I've been there. I've done that. I forgave myself. Right. Now I can move on, because my story is going to impact someone else who may be going down that same path as well, which comes in through the mercy and the grace.
Yeah. I like that, Furman. It reminds me of something I say all the time. Seek wise counsel. Yeah. So now, yes, we do. We want to be healed, and we want people to talk to, and we want people to help us through our healing. We bear a responsibility to consider the fruit that they have bore, to decide if this is a person that we need to share our information with.
Oh yeah.
Right? And when you make sure that who you seek to support you is the person that you are moved to talk to, then you won't have to worry as much about the judgment part of it. The problem is that we don't have ourselves together. So we're not in a position to even help heal anybody. Sitting up judging and critiquing and criticizing. So we need to get ourselves into a space.
What's that noise?
Echo.
Yeah. Come from somewhere. I keep myself. Let me see. There you go. All right. Say something. Anybody?
I think that got it.
All right. You go ahead and finish.
I just think that we have to. There's two sides to the coin. One is to study and show ourselves approved. So we need to study and pay attention to who we want to get information from.
Right, I agree.
To seek the wise counsel, because not everybody is designed to be your counsel.
I agree.
So you have to pay attention and make sure that they're bearing the fruit, they're exemplifying the person that you want to be, that they are able to put something inside of you. We're so concerned sometimes with just venting.
Oh yeah.
That venting is really hard for me, because while yes, I can listen to you vent, but because I know and believe that there's a purpose for this, then we can vent, and when we finish venting, we can pray, and then we need to talk about a plan. These times where we just want to vent and spew negative energy with no outcome, what happens? We feel better, but what residual have we left on the person that we were venting to? We try to say that, oh, they're just venting, I'm okay, but we are constantly implanting seeds into our subconscious, and it's important to understand that everything we do, there's something that bursts out of that. We all know that the negativity, it comes out of the air. So while yes, I'm great with you venting, but I'm listening to you vent because I'm praying and developing a plan and some ideas on what I can do to help you transition from that experience, so that we just not venting every week about this.
You know what? I like that. You're absolutely right about that. It's just gonna keep going on. Faith without works is dead. That makes sense. I mean, it really makes sense. Faith without works is dead. Like, okay, where we go from here? What we gonna do? Like you said, you comes me to okay, what's the plan now? So what we gonna do? If not, you're still gonna be in the same situation, not getting it. Is what they call that being insane. Do the same thing and expect different results. It's still going. It's just called being insane. It's like you you taking a crack pipe and saying, God, if it's your will, take this crack pipe away from me. You know it's not good for you, but you're willing to take it. You know it's not good. It makes sense. It really makes sense. So you got to put a plan to act. So faith without works is dead.
Yeah.
So if you're not putting a plan, so we just really wasting our own time, basically, for real. And I'm glad you're not to vent to everybody. 'Cause a lot of times you have people will use your weakness against you as
Yes.
well. I understand what you're saying on that one. You can't to vent with everybody because everybody don't have your good intentions for real.
And everybody doesn't have the capacity. When we start venting, that is so selfish.
Mm,
Venting is so selfish that we're not considering the effects that our energy and our words have on the person that we calling to vent to.
Oh, that's so good.
We just pick up the phone, girl, I need to vent. You know, did you even consider for 2 minutes if this person is in a spiritual place or a mindset to receive that so they can help you? Or you just calling so that you feel better and then they're tossing and turning praying for you all night? I mean, what are we doing here? When it's about 2 or 3 come
Yes.
together, we need to be on the same accord as to what the vision is, Furman, right? What's the vision for this venting session? What are we doing here?
all right. Yeah, I agree.
What is this? What is the outcome? So okay,
Yes.
we can vent. Let's do this. I can understand, empathize, relate. I'm gonna take my mental notes about what's going on, but I have a vision that I'm going to do my very best to help everybody that comes before me that have a concern. And even if they don't, if it's anything that I know, an experience that I've had, I'm going to share it. Because I'm not haphazardly just walking around taking in stuff with no purpose, right? What kind of person would I be to walk down the street and fall off the edge of the cliff, knowing that there are people behind me that are coming, and I just say, y'all go ahead, y'all go let them fall off the end of the cliff, and you've had that experience, and you're not willing to share it to improve and enhance somebody's life? But you just let them vent about it, and then the outcome comes out the same. We bear a responsibility, all of us, as a community, as family, as people that are here to show love and grace to one another, to help people achieve where they want to be in life. And if they don't know where they want to be, that's a perfect opportunity to share and help them create a vision so they can be what they want to be.
That's it. You're right about that, Jig, as well. And I learned this too. And I got a good heart. I got a heart for people. And at the same time, I remember years ago they said my heart would get me in the world of trouble, and it does, and it has, because I want the best for people. And I realized at times I have to catch myself because I can encourage somebody all day long, but if you're willing to be in that pain and suffering, I have to back from you. And I realized I had to because it was a conversation I had the other day with somebody. And I caught myself. Now it came to my mind, like, you know what? This individual like that. Let me just, hopefully one day they will get it. But I have to live, Furman has to live his life. And a lot of times, Jacob, people want us to be a crush for them. And that's not good either. Like, you do these things, but then you want the sad story. But then you go back and do the same thing again. But you want to come back with the story. It's like, what's going on here? What's like, is that a distraction from, what is it?
Well, you know, Furman, it's twofold. First of all, we have to make sure that we're moving out of obedience and we're not selfishly motivated in our attempts to help people.
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes our desire and determination to help somebody is fulfilling our own self-interest.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to make sure that we're coming from a place of obedience in doing that. And then on the other side of that, making sure that we're not intervening in the path and the plan that God has for them to change their lives. The reason they keep coming back because we're saving them. When you have been directed to do it, fine. But when you're doing stuff just because you want the gratification of helping, and you want to be able to feel good that you're helping, you got this long list of people you've helped, this long list of places you've donated to, and you want to talk about all of the can drives that you've had, you have to be careful because that can just be another means for a self-motivated purpose, which has nothing to do with really serving people. But it gets confusing and misconstrued, right? And through that pathway of always jumping in to do these things, we're intervening and interfering on a pathway that God has for them to be able to grow and move past that challenge, overcome and succeed through that problem because we keep jumping in, intervening and interfering with his work.
Right. It really does think about the scripture too when I'm going biblical for a moment when David and Bathsheba, everybody know the situation, everybody know the story. But when the Bible said this, that God led Nathan to David. He didn't go on his own. The Bible said God led Nathan to tell David about the parable. He broke it down to him. Their response was how the man deserved to die for what he did. And then he turned around. You are that man. But he didn't go on his own. The Lord sent Nathan. So that I just wanted to throw that in on what you were saying. That made me think about that scripture. So I just want to throw that in with
but you know, in addition to that story, he sent him to help him. But in order for him to help him, David had to take the first step to go to meet him. So this is a two-way responsibility thing here, right? It goes back to taking action, faith without works, right? It goes back to being obedient, where if he say go, you go. And then it also lines up with knowing who your helper is, because your helper is already being prepared to help you carry out the work that he has designed for you. But you have to put yourself in line so that you can hear and receive what he has for you as you walk on that path to go your way. Your person is coming to meet you there. And oftentimes we make a mistake because we misalign people and we put them in the wrong category on our path. And we don't recognize their fruit that they bear, or we ignore it, or we dress it up, or we add to it to make it look how we want it to look to fulfill our own selfish needs and desires. And now the system is out of line because nobody is functioning out of the space that they're supposed to be. So the first step is we actually have to go out of obedience and then recognize and hear from him when he's telling us who our helper is, so that when he does come to meet us in the joining, there will be a great overcoming.
Oh, that was a whole word. Furman, you need to cut this part out and make sure you pin it.
Oh, well, because when he did it, when Nathan did it, he didn't go right at David. He broke it in a parable where he didn't know it was talking. It didn't refer to him. He thought it was referring to somebody else. But then when he broke it down to him, that the whole story is about you. Like you said, Jeca, David took the action to go back to fix it, even though God dealt with him, because he took his first child, the one that had with Bathsheba. Then he had Solomon, but he had to bear that burden for what he did, because David cut off a generation. When he killed Uriah, he cut off a generation. But then God, then he said, all he had, if that wasn't enough, all he had to do was ask, because he had favor with God. He didn't have to take that upon himself. When you have a covenant relationship with God, you don't have to do that extra stuff. All you gotta do is go to him, right?
In obedience.
Yeah, you have
obedience. Because if David wasn't receptive to that, then what would happen? You have to be receptive and be obedient. He recognized he was wrong, and you have to be obedient.
Yeah, because he did that because he committed adultery. Then also he committed murder because he put this man on the front line knowing what was going to happen. So he did a lot of stuff that got him caught up, but God dealt with him on that. He recognized that And of course, he was a man of God's own heart. But going back to the matter of the story, the fault, the correction, to be able to receive that correction with a humble spirit to make it right. And not be so proudful and boastful and say, you don't know what you're talking about. But David had he humbled himself and realized, hey, you know what? You're right. I was wrong.
Yeah.
Now I got to go to God to make this thing right with God.
And just like they say, everything that the enemy means for our evil, God turns it around for good. Because look, Solomon came out of it, and he was the wisest man that ever touched feet on this earth. So
Yep.
you have to look at it. God has a plan for everyone. It doesn't matter what it looks like to other people, because people, are so quick to judge and say,
Right.
can you imagine that happening in today's age? And they're like, oh, David is the worst person on earth, even though God has favor on his life. We can't see what God sees. His thoughts are not our thoughts, his ways are not our ways. So we have, like you said, it's just like being receptive to all of that.
Yeah. And most definitely, because this stuff is important. That's why it talks about mercy and grace. That what David get that from, new mercy and new grace, and he restored and he showed that as well. Because we all have mercy and grace. Everybody's thinking of mercy and grace. There's some things that God protected us from that people don't even know about, but we know about His mercy and grace that He protected us, and we gotta be very, very thankful for that, ladies and gentlemen, because He had really spared us from being exposed. And some people be exposed, some people haven't it because His mercy and grace. So be thankful for that. That's all I say. Be thankful for that. All right. So next thing,
and extend it to others as well.
Yes.
You have to. And that's what come in. The patience come in at. The wisdom come in at, because people not at that level where you may be at. So you have to be very patient with it, like a child. You have to be very patient with a child. When a child is coming up, you have to be very patient with that child. That's saying you have to be with people. You have to be very patient with people, because that's going to help them elevate and grow instead of just beating them down, casting stones at them. We got to get out of that. So, hey, raise people up with mercy and grace, and God going to do the changing. We don't have to change nobody. He'll do it.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's what's up right there. So we know, G, you got the campaign going on, the running is going on. So what else next is on your plate? You got office. I know you have done commercial. Yeah, matter of fact, did you have a commercial that was here on national television? How was that experience?
It was a television commercial. It was on Monday Night Football, Lifetime. It was a fun commercial. Well, for me right now, I'm really focused on our city, focused on the race at hand. Business is great. Able to provide mediations for hospitals and health insurance companies, just to help minimize the cost that gets passed on to the patient. So I really enjoy doing those mediations. That's the majority of my practice. I also do local mediations for lawsuits, neighbors fighting over who repairs the fence, the car wreck, the motor that didn't get changed out properly, so they're suing. I do a lot of that. For fun, I like to do the family divorce and child custody mediations. Those are like what I do kind of for fun. Yeah, it's a lot. I love that. And then I work for Dallas College during the day. I'm a student conduct officer for them, and I help students who violate the code of conduct. Imagine that. But going to community college is a great transition from high school to learning, gaining your independence. So we're there to coach a lot of the students and also some adults on how to better communicate and present information so that the information is better received, so that any complaints and concerns about their behavior can be mitigated without having to impose suspensions and actually expelling them from the college. So it's really a great time because I get to help coach and teach people through effective communication so that they can steer away from some of the conduct concerns and have a better experience. I really enjoy that. I haven't taught anything this past year. So we were in the campaign, so I declined to teach mediation and conflict resolution. I was asked to teach English as a second language, but I declined because we were in the campaign. So I'm not sure if I'll get back to that. Right now, I am really focused on the needs of the people, knocking on doors, talking to people, educating them on the role of the city and city government. So, just enjoying life. The new grandbaby was born out of the commercial. Remember?
Okay, congratulations.
Congratulations.
Yeah, so now we're in another campaign, and my other daughter is having a baby in July. So I'm thinking, is there a link here that we need to talk about? So now I have another grandbaby on the way, so that'll be 5. So it's a lot of fun being able to really support them and have that experience. It's amazing. So we're looking forward to some great things. I've got a lot of ideas that hopefully I can really bring to fruition and enhance people's lives and grow myself, my family, and the community. That's what I'm here for.
You know, and just to be able to sit back and just reflect. And I know you still got work to be done. I know that. But to the point of your life, you just look back on the things you have accomplished from a young age to now, and you just look back and you reflect on, wow, like where I came from, where I'm going, my children, my grandchildren, and just really just bask in. But like I said, I know it's still more work to be done because you're still here, and it's like, let's say I ain't scratched the surface yet, but just take time out and just reflect. Like, what goes to your mind is like, wow, just the things that I'm accomplishing in this life and impacting others around me.
That's a very good question. I was a teen mom. I was born in a single parent household, and my mother needed a lot of support in areas. So when I think about being a teen mom, earning an academic scholarship that they took back because I was a teen mom, and then taking one class at a time for 20 years just to get the bachelor's, I really have to say that I struggled with self-esteem and confidence. I didn't know what I wanted to be. I had a moment where I wanted to be in healthcare. Then I wanted to be a psychiatrist. But then I got into a space where I just wanted to survive. Single with 4 children after divorce. I just wanted to survive and give them whatever I could, prepare them to become whoever they could become. It really boiled down to people who saw something in me that I didn't see in myself. And that's why it's so important that when people come to us, we help cultivate a vision for them when they're lacking. Because sometimes people don't even see who they are. They don't see their worth, their value. They don't know what impact they could have. And it took my undergrad professor to call me up and say, I've been watching you. There's something in you. We need you. We want you. We see the impact that you can have. So when I think about my only goal was just to help people, it didn't sound like much at all. And learning that in any industry, in any space, and in any job title, on any platform, you can help someone. And as you carry out your purpose in that, then it will be multiplied to be in the way that he wants it to be, to really maximize your skill set, your love, your passion, to connect with people in the space that you can't, and you can connect with people in a space that I can. But understanding that our own unique skills and abilities will help influence and move the masses if we all just do a little bit. So when I really think about it, I'm most excited. My daughter's graduating next month with a doctorate. That's amazing to me.
That is amazing.
Because I was a teen mom, and what you bear, my children are successful. My girls are able to be stay-at-home moms at 20, 25. Um, that's a hope and a desire of restoration that we don't see anymore. Um, and to watch my son work through and fight through the transitions that he's experiencing in this world as a man, and the challenges that he faces even as a Black man, to watch that transposed in front of me is it's really amazing to see, and understanding that from that 16-year-old little girl, these amazing things have come out of that. Even when life was leaking hard, even when we were dividing a can of beans, literally, um, when we were sleeping on the floor because there was no furniture. Knowing and believing that I was doing the best that I could with good intentions from a good place, and then allowing it to be multiplied and grow, and to get to a space where I am able to just pour out myself and be vulnerable and just with all of the genuine interest to help people. Because I believe that we all have a purpose. There's something that everybody has inside them that can help somebody in some situation. And I am overjoyed with humility for where I've come from and how I'm able to be used, because I'm nobody special, right? I say that I'm nobody special. But for him to choose me and select me in spite of me to do his work and do his will, I am so thankful. And I'm really humbled by being able to share that. Yeah.
Man, that's what's up right there. Just when you mentioned that you was a teen mom and how you didn't stop that from you creating a life that you want to live. Some people would give up or they'll go with the statistics, say, "Oh, you this, you that," and buy into it, but you didn't buy into it. You didn't allow that to defeat you, or you didn't allow that to let you cave in. You kept fighting the good fight of faith, and somebody need to hear that today. No matter what your situation was, we all made mistakes. We all did. If you say you don't made a mistake, you lying.
Yeah.
We all made a mistake. We all made poor choices. I've been there before where I was married, I was divorced. I've been divorced in 2017. I'm not the type of person who will blame my ex-wife for a lot of stuff. I take responsibility for myself because of my mindset. People don't realize, and when you take on the role of a husband, that's very important. It really is. It's not based off emotions, not based off feelings. To me, it's principles. It's the ins and outs, the ups and downs, learning from it, developing from it, leading the family, and all the other good stuff. But I learned from it.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff in life we always gonna learn from. It's that self inventory, taking a step back and examining yourself. I'm not gonna be them type of dudes who married 3, 4, 5 times. Something ain't right with that picture. But to really just, let me take time out of my life, see where I'm at, see where I'm going, what things that needs to be addressed.
Yeah.
So, for one, I never want to affect anybody else, and I don't want nobody to, affect me.
Yeah.
So we always have to take that look. We always got to take that look. So, I'll give you a roses for you doing what you're doing. Not say that, with facts. Not say that because you showing the side of us on the show that is a whole nother level. You know what I'm saying? And that's truly a blessing, Beta. To you open up your word to us to say, okay, you know what? This is a real woman. And not to feel intimidated because she's in office and she looks gorgeous and stuff like that. But to show that you are, hey, you know what? She's real. I can relate to her. And that's a beautiful thing. Because some people feel intimidated. But then once you open up, like, you know what? I can be myself.
Yeah.
And that's
No,
what I
that
have to do.
that I really appreciate that. Um, and we have so many barriers to overcome when people see us good and bad. It's just
Mm,
um, we have to give each other a chance.
right.
We have to, like Jillian is saying, self-reflection, accountability. But we have to give each other a chance because we are so quick to jump to conclusions
Most
based
definitely.
on these ideas that have come out of the way we were raised. And um, our parents, just like we as parents, we do the best that we can with raising our children. But as we continue to grow spiritually and into adulthood with our life experiences, there are some things that we can unlearn. There's been times I've gone back to my children and said, "Hey, I've learned better since I raised you at 22, and I did this and this, and that really wasn't the best way. I should have done this instead. Here's another perspective I would like to teach you now so that you can be better for your child." We have to understand that we are ever evolving, and we have to be willing to hear and learn from others because it can help us continue to grow and be humble, be accountable, be okay with um, recanting on something that we've said. That we have to not be so prideful that we can't show our vulnerability and say, you know what, that CD that I spanked you for when you was 12, I found it in my garage when I was cleaning out your college graduation stuff. You know, you know,
Yes.
right? I mean, honestly, we that's how we heal. That's how we heal experiences and relationships. Um, we're constantly growing, and we have to be willing to do that as we move forward through life because it's about changing our generations. I want my children to be better than me. I want their children to be better than them. That's how we create change as a people and as a society. Because gone are the times that we have to come from a place of such a demise against one another and really uplift and grow so that together we can do this, so we can make it happen.
You know what? You
And I
said it.
love that
Thank
point you made. It's okay and it should be something that's promoted for parents to apologize to their kids. That's important, and a lot of people need that because they hold on to that hurt.
Yeah.
you. Yeah. Yeah. Because I know my parents. I remember my parents when they divorced, and I was young when that happened. Because when you, as a child, you always imagine your parents being together forever, and it didn't happen that way. And I know as a child, it affected us being two different households, and I went through that in my own life as well. Because I always told myself that I always want to be married for the rest of my life, and it can happen, it will happen. But the experiences, like you mentioned, the faith without works is dead. Okay, I want to be. You want to be this. Okay, now you have to put the plan together, right, in order to see it to come to fruition. I could think it all day long. I could speak it. Okay, now you have to put the work, get a plan to put it into fruition. The hand in hand aspect, and that's something I learned in my own personal life, that things have to go hand in hand. Yeah, you can think it, yeah, you can speak it, but now you have to put the work with the faith. If I don't, it's dead.
Right. Right.
'Cause I'm always looking at ways to grow and evolve, challenge ourselves to become better people, individuals, because God made us different.
Yes.
If you look at our handprint is different. We do not have the same
Mhm.
handprint. It's different, and to really know about that. And I know about the great to get off the air. How big is Chica is the self love, loving yourself? The Bible said, "Love your neighbor as you love yourself." I know we love people, which is good, but at times we forget to love ourselves. When the Bible said, "Love your neighbor as you love yourself," but if I can't love myself, how can I love my neighbor?
Right. Because
Right.
he said, as you love yourself. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but what we have to do is learn how to love ourselves.
I like that.
We're the product of different things in society. We we're the result of our parents' hurt sometimes.
True.
Mhm.
We are products of divorce, I understand. So we end up internalizing a lot of other people's experiences, and we create a space that's not self-love. So the first thing we have to do is make a decision about what does love look like? What do we want love to look like? Not what does it look like right now, because could be a very skewed image based on our experiences. But what do we want love to look like? Right? And in order to get an idea of that, we have to first go back to the word. If you need a guideline, you can do that. It's always a good place to start. But then we have to line up our choices with the morals and values that come out of that. Because in order to truly love yourself, you have to start with, again, forgiving yourself for choices that you made that were not the best. You do that, and then that belief that I have that I've done my best in every situation based on what I had inside of me, what I knew, my education, my parenting. I always make the best decision I could. And through that, I'm able to treat myself in a loving way, right? It's things as simple as applying lotion to your skin when you get out of the shower. Little things that you can do to show that you value who you are, what you eat, and what you put into your body. Should all be in line with how you want yourself to be. Your body is going to give you how you treated it before. What you put in it, that's the product you're going to get out of it. So just getting back to a space where you intentionally decide what you want love to look like, so you can make those decisions to give yourself grace, forgiveness, show love to yourself through how you take care of yourself, how you want to be seen by people, the type of respect that you want from people, friends, men in the community, people that you come into contact with, people in church or in different venues. How do you want to be seen? What do you want to do? What do you want to show light to them? You may not. You may want to be a little bit more quiet. But what do you really want to put out there? And that's what you should put back inside of you first, because you can't give anything out if you don't have anything in, and it's your responsibility to fill your own cup.
That's it. Because I'm all for growth. I'm all for evolving. The more I learn this about myself, because I turned 41 last Sunday. Still a
Happy
young.
birthday.
Oh, thank you. Still a young man, of course. But I just learned to involve more Jeca now to in other words, I'm gonna say this, and it may sound controversial to some people, but I have not really met the real Furman yet. When I say that, because God buries stuff. Okay, when God buries stuff so deep inside you, you just can't say, "Oh, I'm just going to get it." You have to dig deeper, because I have not met the real me yet. It may sound controversial, it may sound crazy, but I have not met that real dude yet. When I say that real dude, the dude that's already walking in the purpose that God has for his life, he the man that God wants him to be, because we constantly involve it. Now, some people stop, but getting to know that real man.
That's interesting, Furman. I had an experience 20 years ago. Yeah. And I ended up hearing this message. And it was basically saying that until you accept yourself for who you are, where you are, and what you are today, knowing and accepting the truth of who you are in this moment right now, then you're not able to give true, unadulterated praise and worship and acknowledgement, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yes, we all have some evolving and growth to do, But every phase and day of walking through to get to that permanent devolution space, which won't exist, that is who you are. You are who you are today. You are what you're doing today. So it really gets to a place where we have to accept that we are who we are today, right now, the fullness of yourself, like Jill said. We are who we are right now today. So I beg to differ, Furman. I believe that you have met yourself. Everything that you do is who you are. Now you will continue to evolve and grow,
Right.
but you will never be finished. So when you know that you'll never be finished because you're always striving to grow and improve, are you saying that you'll never meet yourself? No, I don't think that's what you're saying. I think that every day we have to get to a space that we believe in and accept who we are, knowing that we will continue to grow and we will evolve and become fuller and bigger and greater. Right. But I met you in person, and I believe I met Furman Jackson Jr. because I accept who you are today in this moment and in this space.
Right.
I see who you are. I see what you do. I hear the word that you have inside of you. I see the people that you engage on the show to share perspectives. You are what you do. You are Furman Jackson Jr. Now, you are always growing and trying to evolve because we all are.
Right, well, definitely.
Say that you don't know him yet and haven't met him yet. I think there's a little bit more to that.
I appreciate it. Thank you for noticing. I just want to let you know that. But it's great stuff we talk about here on the show because this had to be said. And, we were talking about your role for office for city council. This whole winter, you never know what happened on this podcast. It go to wisdom being not dropped and nuggets being dropped. And you're right about that, Jeca. You really is right about that. It's a great time. So are you doing any speaking engagements right now? I know besides running for office, will you be doing any more speaking engagements in the near future? Because we know that's a part, of what you do as well.
I have not planned anything just because I'm not sure, right, where life is going to go right now. So we are in the middle of voting. Next Saturday is the last day. So right now it's all about knocking on doors and talking with everyone that I can and really sharing the possibilities, giving people a chance to dream about our neighborhoods again. So I'm really focused on that. I have not reached out and started trying to schedule any speaking or doing anything. I'm looking forward to a great celebration with the victory for City Council. And of course, you're always invited. Your audience is always invited and supported. I appreciate that. I have some ideas on what that's going to look like. I could be a little out the box when it comes to political celebration, the comedy show, and
the I remember.
I like to make sure people have value out of their time with people, that it is always an enhancement to their lives. That's what I really want for people. So I have some great ideas on what that celebration will look like. And then, of course, celebrating my daughter next month, right? But really just being engaged in the community and talking with people. So whatever I know, you'll know for sure.
Oh, I know it, and I'm looking forward to it as well. So they'll keep me posting, keep me updated as well. And of course, I'm gonna show my support. Also, I don't want to talk people just talk about my support. Really, really, really short your support. We're giving time, money, whatever, and to really do that, and also as well. Also, so it's really good stuff to do. To really do that. So keep doing what you're doing, Jeca, as well. I know you have a very productive day ahead. Also. And we don't want to hold you from that. But you have any final remarks you want to leave here with the listening audience? It's going to be up on, of course, YouTube right now, Facebook, Twitter, iHeart, Spotify, Apple Podcasts.
Well, first, I just want to thank you again for having me. I remember, I guess it's been about 2 years ago when we first met, Furman. We were just on Facebook, I think.
Yeah.
So to watch the growth that you've done in the last couple of years has really been inspiring. So I just want to encourage you to keep it up. We see you, we know what you're doing, and you are helping people. Even if you only have one person that gets a word out of what you're doing, that one person can be the seed to grow and blossom an entire garden. So keep it up. Thank you for that. Um, the next thing I want to do is just remind everyone to vote in every election. The city council is making decisions about your trash getting picked up or not, the water, the street repairs. They're making decisions about businesses that are coming to the city that you can enjoy. So check it out, look it up, go to your city's webpage, do a search for city council, and listen in on those meetings. Find out what's going on in your community, not just Grand Prairie, but every city where you reside. It is important. They need your voice. So please do that. And then, most importantly, identify your passion, identify your mission, your purpose, the will that is in your life, and maximize on that to grow and enhance someone's life because everyone has something to give.
And that's it. Something to give. You heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. What was said today was very therapeutic, I have to say. I don't think we're missing with some wine, so hey. That's all they were missing with it. But hey, man, y'all have a great weekend. Remember the graveyard. Everybody had one thing in common. They thought they were gonna see tomorrow, and they didn't. Let's live life like it's our last. Remember, love yourself, respect yourself, cherish yourself. I'm gonna use this too. And I gotta give a big shout out to my brother, Maurice Hill. He said this when I was living back home in Mobile. He said, "You should always know the season that God got you in. You should always know the season that God got you in. It's a time to build. It's a time to plant. It's time to tear down." Moses, he hit Moses out with 40 days, right? A lot of us is having that Moses experience where God has to hide us out for a certain amount of time, which is a good thing because he's molding us and shaping us behind the scenes. So when we come back around again, it's going to be unstoppable. I just want to share that. So some of us are having the Moses experience right now. So that's a beautiful thing though. Learn from the Moses experience. Allow him to fill in you. Every time God uses somebody, he set them out. He set them aside. From Joshua to you name it. All of them he set aside. And he trained them and he equipped them. Moses, before he sent Moses out, he equipped Moses. But you know what? How God do things. Every time we try to come with an excuse, God overrides it. Look at Moses. He said, "I'm a stuttering." He had Aaron. Jeremiah, "I'm only a child." God didn't even, I'm not worried about you being a child. He already know. He said, "I knew you before from your mother's womb." So we can't make these excuses, but God is not going to work, ladies and gentlemen. He just going to give you an answer. Like, hey, yeah, you say that, but I know who I made you to be.
Yes.
So God do not accept our excuses, ladies and gentlemen, at all. Because you know what? He's still going to utilize you. So let God utilize you. That's all I have to say on that one. But we're finna get you off the air. Y'all have a great Saturday. We're going to be back here Tuesday night, which is the month of May. We're going to be kicking off the New Faces of Dallas series for the month of May. So you living here in the DFW, we are going to be showcasing different men and women who are doing great things in the DFW for the month of May. That's the New Face of Dallas series. So we'll be kicking that off Tuesday night here on Walking This Way's Impact Force podcast. Once again, Jeca, go ahead and plug in your information. How can people follow you? How can they support? How can they get in contact with you?
Well, I am all over social media. TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. I don't really use my Snapchat as much, but everything is Jeca for GP everywhere. Jeca for GP. You can look me up, Jeca Williams. So anything that I can do, reach out. Check out my website as well, Jeca for GP. I'd love for you to support anything you can give to help me. I need stamps. I need text messaging. So, not too expensive, but I really could use your help because the change that we create in Grand Prairie could be the change that we can create across DFW and really influence and impact everyone in our community. So I really look forward to your help. Remember to go and vote in your community. Check out who's running. and do your part. Do your part. Educate your children about the importance of voting. Educate them about what's going on in the community and what their responsibilities are as it relates to unity and supporting others. I'm so excited that I had this time with you. Remember, I'm Jeca Williams, previously known as Jeca for Judge, now known as Jeca for GP. Still cute. So check me out. Reach out if you need me. I'm just here to serve and help. Anything that I can do, I will do my absolute best to be there for you. So thank you for this time, Furman. Ursula, it was so nice to meet you. I definitely have some things that nuggets that I can take away and really think and about what I can do to continue to grow and improve as we all are trying to evolve and become bigger and better and connect with our present day self, Furman, as we continue to grow. Because we've met who we are and we know who we are. We are confident and bold above and not in his name. And we are out here fighting for people and fighting for our community. So keep it up. Thank you so much for having me on the show.
And you know what? And you
Thank you
welcome.
for being here. Thank you for being here. It was a pleasure speaking with you, for you sharing your transparency, because I know you made a difference in someone's life today.
Yeah, most definitely. And I appreciate you again, Chica. I know you have a very, very productive day ahead of you as well. I know Ursula also. Man, y'all have a great Saturday. Enjoy the day. Get out, spend time with loved ones, get some work done. There's always stuff to get done and accomplished. And like I said, we're going to be back here Tuesday night here on Walking This Ways Impact Force Podcast. Have a great weekend, everybody. Peace. All right. Did he?
Huh?
Okay. There you go.